In a tent, Sasha is using glue to mend the numerous wounds on her fingers. Then she looks outside, revealing that the tent is hanging on the side of a mountain in Norway. As soon as her boyfriend Tommy wakes up, she asks him to continue their adventure. The couple keeps climbing the mountain with great skills that prove they've been doing this for a long time. They only pause to snack or yell in excitement, although there's the occasional kiss too. Moments later, as they're about to reach the top, Sasha slips off. The ropes prevent her from falling, but Sasha is very frustrated because she always fails at the same spot. Tommy tells her to take it easy, yet Sasha tries a few more times and repeatedly fails to advance. Noticing that the sky is getting dark, Tommy convinces her to stop and try again the next day. In the tent, Tommy admits he doesn't have many more trips left in him, and he's worried about Sasha's carelessness. He thinks luck is eventually going to run out and claims that's what his lucky compass is saying, but Sasha slaps it off his hands. She also playfully punches his back when he says it hurts. In the end, they agree to leave and come back after the storm is gone. The wind is causing lots of debris to fall, so they have to stay close to the wall and keep their heads down. Tommy says they should rest on the ledge, so Sasha goes down first. Suddenly, bigger rocks start falling, and one of them hits Tommy, causing him to go down and hit his head. He hangs unconscious at the end of the rope, and Sasha has to grab it so she won't fall along. She yells at him, but he won't wake up, and his weight is causing her to slip too. In order to survive, Sasha has no choice but to let Tommy go. She holds tight to the ledge and cries as she watches her boyfriend fall to his death. 5 months later, in Australia, Sasha is driving through the desert and discovers that her GPS has lost signal. So she uses Tommy's compass to find the right road. When night falls, she camps near a cliff and remembers everything Tommy taught her while riding in loneliness. The next day, Sasha arrives at the Wandering National Park. She stops at the reception to look at some brochures, and the ranger advises her not to go alone because people have been disappearing in the area. She wants to go anyway, so she signs the necessary papers. Then she goes to the grocery store for supplies, only for 2 hunters to keep bothering her. She tries to ignore them, but the men are persistent and corner her at the counter. Noticing this, Ben comes to her defense and the 2 hunters leave. Thanks, Sasha buys the beef jerky he sells. In the parking lot, Sasha notices that her GPS still isn't working, so she asks Ben for the best way to reach Groundalneros. Ben gives her the directions she asks for, but also tells her about Blackstone Bay, which, in his opinion, is a much better place. He warns her that the area can get a bit intense, but Sasha assures him she can handle it and drives off without letting him finish. After many hours of driving, Sasha stops by a lake to spend the night. Suddenly, 2 more cars park nearby, and Sasha's irritated to see that the hunters are back. Their dog keeps barking at her while the men handle the deer they killed. Sasha picks up her things and gets in her car before a guy knocks on her window. She ignores him until he leaves. Thankfully, the men leave in the middle of the night and she can sleep in peace. The next morning, Sasha gets on her kayak and paddles down the rapids. The current shakes her a few times, but she's good at this and keeps going without any trouble. When she finds a waterfall, she throws the kayak down and then jumps into the pond. And as her adventure continues, she's disturbed to find the pictures and other belongings of the campers that disappeared hanging on trees. When she sets up camp for the night, she hangs her things on a branch to let them dry and eats some of the jerky. The next morning, Sasha discovers that her things are gone. When she returns to her tent, she's startled by a snake. Afterwards, she continues kayaking and finds a boat abandoned near a path, so she decides to investigate. Among the trees, there's a small camp and Ben, who is very happy to see her. Sasha explains she lost all her things, including her food and phone. So Ben blames it on the wombats and shares his food. While they have some fish, Sasha asks why Ben named his jerk beef Genos. Ben explains it's his mother's name and quickly changes the subject. He shows her that he collects water from trees and shares it with her too. Sasha keeps asking questions. So Ben explains he's originally from Britain and that he comes here at least twice a week. His mother brought him here as a kid and he fell in love with it. When Sasha tells him she's now doing rivers because she's done with mountains, he guesses it was because of a breakup. She denies it but doesn't explain. Then Sasha tells him about her second encounter with the hunters, and Ben says she handled it perfectly. It turns out he went to the campsite because he thought he could help a woman alone, but she didn't need him after all. He thinks she's special, just like his mom. Obviously creeped out by this, Sasha tries to leave, but Ben blocks her and she notices her bracelet on his wrist. Ben admits he took her things and brings her bag out of his tent. He also grabs his crossbow and a speaker where he starts playing music. He explains he's restocked all her essentials, but he's keeping her phone. Now she has until the end of the song to get as far away as possible. While Ben dances, Sasha starts running as she can. She makes it to the river and quickly gets on her kayak to start paddling. And as soon as the song ends, Ben starts moving as well, keeping an eye on Sasha by running along the shore. The current is quite strong and ends up throwing Sasha down the waterfall, so her kayak is overturned. After some struggle to disconnect the harness, Sasha grabs her bag and swims to the nearest land while her kayak floats away. Since her wet jacket is quite heavy, Sasha gets rid of it and starts running again. As she crosses the forest, she hears a family chatting and immediately searches for them, only to find a phone playing a video. It shows Ben saying hi to one of the families he's killed. Suddenly an arrow flies near Sasha, who dodges it just in time and hides behind the rocks. When Ben appears above her, she starts running again and a chase ensues. Ben keeps shooting arrows at her and Sasha dodges them all, but one still manages to slash her leg. Eventually, an arrow hits her bag and knocks her down, causing her to roll down the hill and slide off the cliff until she falls into the river. Sasha tries to swim, but the current is too strong and drags her through the canyons. By holding onto the rocks, she reaches the calm pond by the waterfall and comes back to land. Then she checks the family's phone, but the fall has broken it. In the bag, she finds a snack and water and consumes them both. She also finds her pepper spray and leaves it in the closest pocket. Afterwards, Sasha runs through the canyons but can't find a single open path. So she uses her climbing skills to make her way up. After a few dangerous moves, she makes it to the top and admires the view of the entire area. Using her binoculars, she notices that Ben's boat is still near the path. At that moment, she hears Ben's hunting call and sees him coming up the hill. He even stops moving just to smile at her. Sasha immediately goes down the canyon and hides under a rock, staying still for a few seconds while Ben peeks inside. Since he doesn't see her, he leaves and Sasha can come out to run again. Once she finds a safe spot, Sasha takes out her binoculars and discovers that Ben is near his boat. While listening to music, he keeps jumping into the water without any clothes on. Sasha decides to get in the river too and very carefully swims underwater until she reaches the boat. Hiding behind it, she tries to untie it to no avail. Then she tries to get the other end of the rope only to accidentally step on a bear trap that makes her fall. Ben hears her scream and rushes to get dressed before pulling the chain to start dragging Sasha back to land. When they're close enough, Sasha sprays pepper on his face, so Ben gets in the water to wash it off. Sasha tries to pull the chain from the rock, but it's stuck. When she's about to grab the crossbow, Ben pulls the chain again. Sasha gets her pepper spray ready, but Ben takes his crossbow and forces her to drop it. After freeing Sasha from the trap, Ben hangs her from a tree by her wrists, calling this whole hunt a ritual. Then he gathers some fruit and herbs to feed her, but Sasha eats very reluctantly. Annoyed by her attitude, Ben pulls the chain to torture her. That night it starts raining. Ben stays in his tent, but Sasha is left under the tree. He explains that rituals are very important because they remind people of who they are. He also thinks enduring pain is a part of growing up and mentions a tribe that files down their own teeth to sharp points. The next morning, Ben handcuffs Sasha and ties her to the boat to take her away. But he won't tell her where they're going. He reveals he got her name from the ranger's office and did some research, so he knows that Tommy is dead. Ben thinks it's strange that an experienced climber like Tommy fell, trying to imply that Sasha was behind his death. At that moment, Sasha notices an iron bar hidden under some ropes and tries to grab it. But Ben immediately pushes her off the boat. Sasha tries to swim away. However, Ben keeps paddling and the chain drags her through the river. The strong currents keep pushing her underwater, but she manages to stay afloat long enough to survive until they make it to the shore. On top of a cliff, Ben takes out some climbing gear and makes Sasha put on a harness too. They carefully descend into a cavern. Then they take a path deep into the cave where Sasha is horrified to find two hanging bodies. Ben says that some tribes believe that to capture the spirit of their prey, they have to consume its liver. He also tells Sasha that the family from the video didn't put up a fight, revealing the dead kids on the ground. When he says that nothing goes to waste, Sasha notices the pieces of flesh that were left to dry and realizes he's been making beef jerky from human bodies. Sasha panics and tries to run, but Ben pulls the chain to bring her in and takes off her shoes, telling her to rest. Then he asks if he has a problem. So Sasha theorizes that people have hurt him and tries to offer her sympathies. Suddenly, Ben pulls out his fake teeth, revealing that his real ones are pointy and sharp. He puts Sasha's fingers in his mouth so she can feel them. And when she asks him to stop, he runs away. Not knowing what to do, Sasha looks around and finds a suitcase with old objects, including a picture of baby Ben with his mother. At that moment, Ben comes back and drags her deeper into the cave where he uses a contraption to hang her by her wrists. Then he opens a barrel of homemade salt brine, calling it the perfect tenderizer. When Sasha asks about the picture, Ben tells her that his mother's the first person he ate, so now she's always with him. He hugs Sasha, saying he'll keep her with him too. After insulting him, Sasha bites a chunk of his ear off and wraps her legs around him. Ben struggles until he frees himself, causing the chain to come loose from the contraption and Sasha to fall. When she tries to escape, he grabs her t-shirt, but it also breaks and she can start running. Ben tries grabbing the chain next. However, Sasha pulls it off his hand and jumps into the river. Furious, Ben immediately jumps to and grabs the chain again to attach it to his harness. The current drags them both down the waterfall and into the rapids, where the chain gets stuck on a rock. The weight of their bodies soon releases it, and the current drags the duo down again, causing Ben to hit his head and fall unconscious. Now the chain gets stuck on a branch underwater, so Sasha tries to disconnect it from his harness. Unfortunately, she can't, so she moves the chain and swims to the surface with Ben. Afterward, she grabs a rock and tries to break the chain to no avail. At that moment, Ben wakes up, so Sasha runs to push him underwater to try to drown him. Since he's stronger than her, he manages to resurface, so Sasha starts choking him with the chain instead. Ben knocks her down and keeps her close using the chain, and then he sits on her to choke her in return. Sasha can only struggle for a few minutes before her body weakens, and seeing her face full of suffering reminds Ben of his mother, making him let go of her immediately. Sasha takes the chance to punch him and grabs the rock too, repeatedly banging on his leg. Ben responds by kicking her face, breaking her nose. When Ben cuts his pants with his pocket knife, he discovers his leg is broken too. For the next few hours, they can do nothing but rest on the sand while dealing with the pain. Eventually night falls and Sasha reveals she gets depressed in the dark. She tells Ben what happened to Tommy and cries as she explains how guilty she feels, since she'll never know if he was still alive when she let go. She admits she should have listened instead of pushing. The next morning, Sasha notices that Ben's wound is rotting. She asks about the path in the forest and Ben says it's 12 days of walking. So Sasha concludes they should climb instead. Ben thinks that's crazy, but she points out that if they don't, he'll die of an infection. Seeing no other options, Ben gives her the harness so she can lead the climb. He promises to set her free at the top, but if she tries to push him while they climb, he'll bring her down with him. Then he finally takes off her handcuffs. Sasha organizes and ties all the ropes, creating a booster for his broken leg. The climbing begins, and once again, Sasha proves she has great skills even while barefoot. When Ben is out of sight, she tries taking off the harness, but Ben notices her arm movements and immediately pulls the ropes to make her fall. Sasha kicks his broken leg as punishment, saying she had only been adjusting the harness. And as the climbing continues, Ben wonders if Tommy's fall looked like he was falling, but Sasha refuses to answer. Eventually, she reaches a ledge and ties the ropes to a small tree, and she starts taking off the harness, so Ben pulls the rope again to make her slip off. This time, she manages to hold on to the tree, so Ben's pulling finishes taking the harness off. Now Sasha can climb back on the ledge and untie the ropes, letting Ben fall to his death. Although she has no equipment, Sasha keeps on climbing, making risky moves and slipping off a few times. However, she never gives up and recovers from every mistake until she finally makes it to the top. She lies down to rest and laughs in relief, but it soon turns into tears. Then she walks for hours and reaches the path at night, where a car finally sees her and rescues her. The drivers agree to take her back to her vehicle in the morning. Sasha returns to the reception and tells the ranger where to find all the missing people. Sometime later, the authorities retrieve all the bodies and the incident appears on the news. When Sasha is allowed to leave, she goes to the beach and kisses Tommy's compass before throwing it into the sea, finally letting go of her guilt. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.